All right, we're going to go ahead and get started in just a moment. I wanted to take a quick minute to introduce myself. My name is Alex Boyd. I'm up here in Portland, Oregon this morning. Sun is shining and I'm living the dream. I'm the Director of Growth here at inDinero. We are bringing the value of a CFO and COO to hundreds of businesses around the country so far. And today I want to walk you through a little bit more about the inDinero dashboard and how we've been using it to help companies get access to the financial insight that helps them run their business better. So that's a bit about me. First of all, just so I know who I'm speaking with, I'm going to put a little poll here. If everyone could put a quick answer to this question. How do you describe your industry so far? Technology, more on the services side, some e-commerce. Good. Okay, nice. Looks like we're waiting for one more. Wherever the voting laggards are, there we go. Perfect. All right. Excellent. So a lot of professional services, a lot of technology companies here today, and some other ones too. We'll talk about a little bit of e-commerce in a bit as well. Looks like one person here with an e-commerce business too. So quick introduction of the dashboard here. We have a software that you probably have not seen before. So right here on the front, we are looking at our primary metrics. How much money are we taking in? How much are we spending every month? This is the main metrics of how you're doing, right? So if you log in the morning, you want to know how your business is going, this dashboard has synced up with your bank accounts and your credit card accounts and your other financial accounts every day. So in the morning, you wake up, you log into inDinero, you can see money coming in, coming out. Scrolling down here, we have our bank balances, so your total liquid assets. In this case, this company's making money, and this is a demo account we threw together for you. And in the bottom right, you have your cash runway and your burn rate. These are a couple of terms that startups and small businesses often use to describe how they're doing and their velocity. In this case, we want to know what is our burn rate, what is our total money going out the door, excluding our income. And if we click the other button, we can see what happens with our income here. Months to go. Okay, this is key information I need to know. So here's the main dashboard. And if we have anything overdue, left to do, any overdue invoices, my clients haven't paid me yet, any bills I have to pay, that's going to show up right here. During tax time, we'll give you a little ping for tax questions from the tax team so you can kind of keep everything all in one spot. All right, cool. So let's take a quick look at the deep dive over here and see more about what this looks like. Okay, so we'll go to the bank accounts and transactions portion. So in the bank accounts and transactions portion, this is where we're syncing up with all of your financial accounts, such as your banks, your credit cards, your PayPal, and so forth. And you're going to see transactions streaming in. So when you swipe your card, the next day it's going to show up here, and then inDinero's to categorize all of your transactions. Now we're going to set up a custom chart of accounts, so right here you have everything put into the right taxable categories, so you don't have to worry about doing it. Now if you have a large amount of transactions, which e-commerce companies typically do, some SaaS average sales price often have a lot of transactions, this can get really, really time consuming. So the software is taking care of that for you. Now, once we've done all this categorization into the chart of accounts based on your transactions, we'll create financial reports. And this is the section of the platform where you're going to get financial reports. So what we do here is we try to make it visual and as colorful as possible so you can really get insight about what's going on. So the first thing we do is, before we show you the profit and loss, we just take your money coming in and out and graph it out. So you can see what months are good. And below you can see what your... So most of our customers have most of their money coming from one or two main business segments. And their biggest spending category is on their people. It's on their human capital. So in the salaries. But I can see all this graphed out here, what those main categories are. This is a little bit different to do than on QuickBooks. On QuickBooks, it's a little bit tougher to get this kind of information, so it's nice to have it all kind of at the fingertips here. So I'll put another quick poll in the box here. I'm curious to know how many of you currently have some kind of dashboard that you use to access financial statements. I guess you'd say no if you're emailing an accountant or a bookkeeper, or you're doing it yourself in Excel or Google Sheets, or you have an abacus or a little notepad and paper. Use some kind of dashboard for financial statements. Yeah, right down the middle, and then half don't yet. Okay, cool. So I hope this is a little bit of a cool eye-opener too of how you can use this to get your profit and loss, your balance sheet, your cash flow for the half of you that don't. So we'll walk through that now. Now, if I want to look at an actual profit and loss statement, for example, I may want to go to the bank, get a loan, or show it to an investor, or just know how I'm doing. I'd click on profit and loss right up here in the top. So here, I really want to wait till June is done. So as you can see, there are some transactions for June, but mostly we've closed the books for May. So I'm going to look at, let's go with February till the end of May. And I'll do all of my labels and all of my bank accounts. Is every month I can monitor the trends and changes in my financial situation. Looks like my business grew a little bit in March, declined a little bit April through May. My salaries took a big uptick, so this is something I really want to look into. I made a bunch of hires on this demo account in March. Paid a lot more in compensation. There was some relocation and recruiting and advertising here. I can check out my T&E budget over time. This is apparently a lot more traveling going on in March. I need to figure out where my fictional employees are going off to. My professional services, again, down the whole way, completely custom chart of accounts for every business. And then, of course, the profit and loss statement is telling you what profit and loss you're seeing. So the platform is just displaying right here the net profit, which is the total revenue minus the total spending. Really quick refresher on a couple key ratios. For a technology company, you won't do a whole lot of looking at your gross margins, but what the gross margin is, especially for professional services and really, really important for e-commerce, is the top line revenue right here over the cost of goods sold. So if you're selling physical products, you're buying physical inventory, and that's going on your balance sheet. And when you sell that inventory, that's going as a cost of goods sold. The price you sell your inventory for goes up here as your revenue. When you divide the gross profit here by the total revenue, that's your margin. You want your gross margin to be as high as possible. And this is a tech company demo, so the gross margin is pretty high. But the net margin is that net profit over the total. So quick refresher on the basic ratios and margins. Quick look at the balance sheet, how we're displaying that. So the balance sheet tells you what are my total assets, what are my total liabilities. I like to say it's what you own minus what you owe. The difference is your equity. Obviously, as a business owner, you want your equity to be as high as possible, and profits increase equity. Here's how you're tracking that in your balance sheet. Open up my chat box, make sure there are no questions so far. Again, if you have any questions for going through this, feel free to post those there. Looks like we had a few more join in the last few minutes, so welcome. So I'll stop and ask answer a question from Jerry. What do I do when my CPA says he's never heard of inDinero? We've been using QuickBooks. Good question. We haven't talked about the tax section yet of inDinero. We'll get into that in a little bit later. But the nice thing is we actually have CPAs here. So we take the reports we've been creating here and we go over to this tax dashboard, which I'll touch on in a minute, and we actually prepare your taxes for you using the reports we've been creating throughout the year. So I hope that helps. All right, great. So we said there were a lot of people here who ran service companies. So let's talk about the invoicing. This will be a little bit different than in QuickBooks. In QuickBooks, it takes roughly 4 clicks to get an invoice out. It's a little bit, there's a lot going on in QuickBooks. And I've used QuickBooks before, so very familiar with this. Right here, this is again sort of the same idea, more of a visual dashboard. And I want to see what I've recognized in terms of my revenue over a month. And then graph that out by client, by category. And then I can actually see my invoice list over here. Now this is where I'm going to see what's outstanding, what I've been paid for, what invoices have I sent over the past while. One of the nicest things about this is people often want to know who owes me money. That's one of the most important questions you can have as a service company, is who owes me money right now and how far is it overdue. That's what an aging report is. So I don't know if anyone's used an aging report before, but really what this is telling you is by client and by amount, how far overdue are my invoices that I've sent to them. So if you're good at collecting revenue from your clients, you really should have all current revenue, and you shouldn't have much overdue. If your clients are chronically late, you'll see who and by how much over here. So that's what an aging report is. Quick note about e-commerce. Cool little thing if you sell physical inventory online and you use Stitch as your inventory management system, this pulls that right in from there. Now, if you're a service company, you have insurance, consulting, marketing, you're using invoicing, you'll mainly use the invoice list in the client's portion of this. And again, a lot of our clients have multiple types of services. So for example, some of my marketing clients, they have SEO, they do one-off consulting and projects, they do digital marketing, ad buying, and so forth. So they actually load their full product set right into here. And when you invoice, I can actually create an invoice with a variety of different products and services if I need to. So I can easily fill in the products I'm selling, the services, descriptions auto-populated, quantities and costs populated there. So when I go to my profit and loss statement, it's all done for me. All right, that's the invoicing section. I'm super excited to go over bills a little bit. This is different for everybody, but the bill payments portion is, it's like nothing we've ever seen. So this is like, I don't know if everyone's heard of Bill.com or other kind of bill pay systems, but this is a little inDinero specific bill payment mechanism. It's pretty cool, so I'll show you how it works. You have a similar dashboard, kind of like the invoices, but just for the inverse, right? But what you do is you just send your bills in to billpay@inDinero.com, and then they'll get automatically populated here. A staff member on our end then actually enters the bill, transcribes it, click here, and you can pay it by ACH or check. And if you click check, yes, we'll actually print the check on our end, put it in the letter, lick the letter, stamp it, and send it out for you. Super, super cool. So all you have to do is send the bills in. They come right here. They're matched to one of your vendors that's been inputted here. But if you want to make your own payments too, totally welcome to do that. So a lot of people make payments through credit card, through online banking. They write their own checks. Really, we'd encourage you not to have to do that anymore. So this little make a payment section is when you just want to get a check out or get an ACH out. You don't want to have to send it in and have everyone transcribe it for you. So you can just go here, click ACH, tell us who you want to pay, fill in their routing and account number, how much it's for, what it's for, not assets of course, but and then you send it out. And we'll just send the payment for you. Simple as that. So a little bill payment microcosm right in here, all built in. Should really never have to leave the platform if you don't have to. Now, we often get a question of what happens when I have my bills on credit card. Should I leave those there? Totally. If you're paying your bills automatically with credit card, there's no reason to send the bill in to us. Just send over the receipt for it if you need to, and pay the bill automatically. We're all about what's the most efficient way to get whatever you need to get done. All right. Couple more cool things. I guess the next cool things would be the reimbursements feature and then this dashboard. In this case, I recently submitted a reimbursement. I bought some beer for my team. It was really delicious. We went to South Park Seafood and got some oysters too. It's pretty awesome. So I put a reimbursement in. Fortunately, she can just go in here and then either approve and pay it, or she can reject it cold-heartedly and ruthlessly. Now, if she approves it, what happens is I have put in my information already, my ACH information, in this little form. Now, if you're a business owner and you're used to doing reimbursements with an Excel doc and some paper, it should be a nice change. So you just send this link to your employees, and when they're filling in their info for the first time, it's going to prompt them to enter their bank information. They can also put in the amount they spent money on, what they spent money on, and then they can put in a description and a receipt. Cool. So when they do that, it then gets submitted automatically to you, and you can then just go through and click a bunch you want to approve and what you want to reject. It makes it really easy and keeps it all in one spot. Cool. Okay, so the taxes portion, we talked about this a little bit ago when we had Jerry ask a question about his CPA. So what this is, this one's past due right here. I haven't done the 2015 taxes because this is a demo account. But what happens here is we have a little questionnaire series right in the cloud. So most of you are probably accustomed to getting a PDF or something from your CPA to print out that basically says, hey, answer this laundry list of 40 questions and then I'll prepare your return for you. It's kind of a bear. And we realized that. So what we wanted to do is put this all in the cloud. Now, even if someone comes to us with multiple years of back taxes to do, which we can actually handle pretty often, we can do multiple tax years. There's a summary of progress up here and a number of questionnaires. So no matter what type of entity this is, the questionnaire will take you through the whole thing. And you can even chat with our CPAs and tax team right through here. It's super cool. So that's the platform. We have the dashboard. Remember, this is the place to get the primary look at how your business is doing. Money in, money out, your cash balance and your runway and your spending rate. You have your invoices for collecting money from your clients and bill payments for taking care of the payments going out to your suppliers and contractors. Reimbursements for expenses from your employees. The almighty reports and analytics for getting financial reports about your business that inDinero has prepared for you. And then the tax dashboard at the end of the year to prepare your annual income taxes. All right, so to kind of sum that up and talk a little bit more about what we do, and their dashboard was built to be a more founder-friendly dashboard, right? So QuickBooks, you have this kind of look at where your money is going on the front page, but really you have to run a report and then maybe use some add-ons or put it into Excel to get things going. And if you didn't study finance in college, and even if you did, you probably hate every minute of doing that. So we made the software for accountants, sorry, not for accountants, but for business leaders. You don't need to know finance or accounting to use it. That's what we're here for. And then, so remember the reports and analytics, and that's all, and the taxes, this is all prepared by us. So instead of having to get QuickBooks and plug in a separate bookkeeper and a separate CPA at the end of the year, we're doing all that for you. So Jerry, to your question about your CPA, again, you can actually plug your CPA into inDinero if you wanted to, but most people just have inDinero handle their taxes for them. And then finally, there's the scalability aspect and the people that make inDinero what it is. And that's really what it's all about. So a lot of companies that grow or plan to grow are the ones that come to us the most because they've seen that individual bookkeepers who they were first asking for 5 hours a month and now 10 and then 20 and then 80 and then 120 just couldn't quite keep up, and that's partly why they come to us, is because we can. We dedicate more resources over time to our clients when they need it. or we keep stable when they need it. So a couple quick little marketing shout outs here to some of our happy clients. Zapier, really cool business for tying together different applications. What they do is they have thousands of different applications and SaaS platforms that you can tie together with little zaps, they call it. So you can have Salesforce, talk to Gmail, talk to this, talk to MailChimp and that, and it's a very cool product to check out. They're a big fan of working remotely, and we help them do that, even across the state lines. Next is Watsi. No matter what you do when you finish this webinar, go on to watsi.org and pull out your credit card, honestly, because Watsi does something really cool. They allow you to crowdfund surgeries and medical treatments for people in need. Right? So if there's someone in Africa with cleft palate needs to get it fixed and needs $200 for the surgery, you can donate $10, $20 or the whole surgery on Watsi. So when they first came out, they started blowing up, and they grew 1,000% in their first fiscal year. What we did is we helped them out with the accounting and transparency side so that people who want to donate money to Watsi know where the money is being spent and know that it's being spent wisely. Love working with Chase. Great company. So if this is appealing to anyone, feel free to get in contact with us. We really just hope that we can help anyone's business. We are so far, and we're growing ourselves too. So hopefully we can help some of you today. That's me, and that's a cheesy picture of me playing the banjo to end with. So I'll open it up to questions now. If anyone has those, looks like we do. We'll start tackling those. All right, what if I have a cash-based business with a POS? Does inDinero recognize the characteristics of that kind of business? That's Eitan Bensasan. Great question. So the cash portion is interesting, right? So it depends how you handle the cash. If you enter the cash into your POS system and you well, not into it, but you're taking the cash back to the bank and you have cash deposits in your bank, we're seeing that when we sync with your bank, right? Because remember, we sync with your bank every day. If you are taking cash and spending it before it hits the bank, that information, all we need to do is have a login to your POS system, and our accountants will be able to go into that report every month and reconcile whatever they need to do, right? So if you wanted to track, for example, different product lines in your store, for example, you sold both apparel and food. You have let's just say a beer bar, and you also have T-shirts. That's one of my clients does that. We look at the POS system to figure out what was cash, what was credit card. We sync with the banks automatically, and then we can break out the different revenue streams on the P&L in the analytics. Right. And then do we have integrate with recommended healthcare and benefits providers? From Emeka. Great question. It really depends on the relationship with TriNet. But they're a PEO. So to briefly explain sort of the different healthcare models in a nutshell, a PEO employs your employees for you. And then they take legal liability for your payroll. Other companies such as Paychex, they run your payroll. But they're not the end employer of your employees. Now, they do have a PEO model, and many companies offer both. We have relationships with any of them. So if you're looking for a potentially different conversation about your payroll, we can introduce you to one of those companies. They're really good. But the model is very different. So there's a lot of different implications to having a separate company employ your workforce versus being the end employer yourself. And HR is a totally different story too. Both those companies do HR. Cool. Some other common questions we get apart from that. Many of the common questions we get apart from that are what other systems play well with this, so kind of in line with the healthcare and benefits. You like inDinero and you use all the vendors and bill payments, you use the invoicing, but you really like Expensify for reimbursements. All that stuff is totally cool too. So like I said to a ton. If you have any kind of POS system or other system you're using, that we can link into anything, plug into it, get access to it, and our accounting team goes in there, and we can work our finance magic with the data and make sure to reconcile and make journal entries on your inDinero books. Another common question we get is which banks do you work best with? The answer to that is really, most major banks really play well with any online platform like this. I don't know of many that don't play well, but really, if you have online banking access, we'll be fine in the vast majority of cases. But if you do have a specific bank you want to check with us, just let us know and we'll plug it in. Let's see, any other questions coming up? And if not, we'll call it a day. Okay, hope this was helpful and educational for everybody. If you have more questions, just to remind everyone, I'll put my email in the chat box. It's just alex@inDinero.com. And either I or someone on my team can definitely help out. So thanks so much for joining us. I'll leave you with that picture of me playing the banjo. And have a great rest of your day.